Hi everyone, thanks for joining me on this Friday. It's nice and warm here in Portland, Oregon, so kind of enjoying that. So I have some things planned for you today. I want to start out with a little inspiration. I've been doing a little bit of reading and I wanted to share a couple things with you. And I also have a little bit of a fun thing to share before I jump into that. So Plein Air magazine and we just ran an ad in it, so that's me, yay! So that's really fun, so check it out. And what this ad is, I'm really wanting everybody to go to the Minilessons and sign up for my new free Color Confidence handbook, which is my best tips, tricks, cheats on color. I put it together and I think it's really pretty nice, so yeah. So check that out. So I wanted to share this book with you. This is How I Paint, Secrets of a Sunday Painter. Sorry, I don't have the dust cover any longer. But this book is by a painter, Thomas Buchner. I don't know whether he's still around or not. I love this book, and he definitely, decidedly was not a Sunday painter. Very masterful at landscape, still life, portraiture. This is a really lovely book, and it's something that I've always referred to. And I was thinking about doing the live streams for you and how much I love doing them and how much I love sharing what I do with you and how rich my journey as a painter has been and what painting means to me and how whenever I'm painting, it's always been good for me, no matter what swirling, what turmoil, emotion, whatever is going around in my world, in the greater world. Painting has been that wonderful place of refuge and beauty, and I love sharing that with you guys. And in this book, Thomas writes very beautifully. It's one of these art books that you can also read, which is kind of a rarity. And he writes beautifully, and this bit is Why I Paint. So indulge me, if you will, as I read a couple of these pages. It won't take too long, I don't think, but I think it's going to be worth your time. Why I Paint. I first visited the Metropolitan Museum of Art with my grandfather in the early 1930s. He was keen on snuff boxes and lifted me up so that I could see them closely and appreciate the difference between boxes made in Dresden and those made in Prague. I wanted to see Washington crossing the Delaware by Emanuel Gottlieb, but my grandpa didn't think it was worthwhile, too big. When I was 10, I was allowed to go to the museum by myself. There were few visitors in those days, and I could wander through gallery after gallery without seeing anybody except the guards, some of whom I knew by name. I got to know the building pretty well. Besides snuff boxes, paintings, and knights in armor, there were rooms full of furniture, huge stone lions with human heads, and humans with animal heads, as well as humans with no clothes on. There were books with polished gold letters, old-fashioned clothes made of lace, dishes and bowls and pots of every sort in silver and gold, glass and clay. I remember a cow's horn with bands of metal around it that you could drink from. Everything was decorated, even the coffins. One was made of a single block of marble and it had a whole war carved on it. And there were swords and daggers and rifles and pistols, most of them too beautiful to use. The museum seemed to me a palace where all kinds of things were gathered together and sorted out. Everything I saw in this enormous building, thousands upon thousands of objects, appeared to be made not by machines, but by hand. My everyday world was about cars, planes, movies, radio programs, skyscrapers, comic books, and the 20th century. My museum world was all about things made by hand, by individual people. Their names were on labels to prove it, unless objects were made so long ago that nobody remembered. Out of all this came the idea that I might someday make things all by myself that would be good. The museum was about possibilities, about what I might be. The other idea that came out of these years had to do with defining art. The museum is called the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and it contains just about everything that people once made. I assumed then, and still assume, that things were chosen because they were good, very good, maybe the best examples of their kind. So I see art as a matter of relative quality rather than as confined to a particular discipline, such as painting or sculpture. I'm still uncomfortable with the person who says, I've decided to be an artist, or I make art. To me, that's like saying, I've decided to be a master, or I make masterpieces. We can only decide to try. On the other hand, I have no trouble calling my plumber an artist when he solves all my problems efficiently and at a reasonable cost. The point of all this is that those years spent exploring the Met set me apart from most of my contemporaries in art school. The other kids were about originality, abstraction, and self-expression. I was about copying, technique, and trying to do better than I had done the day before. The Met was my bureau of standards. To most of my fellow students, it was the past to be left behind. The pleasures of painting came early. I could do it by myself, and my parents approved. At 12, I was the only kid on a Saturday morning life. I was the only kid in a Saturday morning life class, and I sold a pastel of a Benedictine bottle when I was 13. At home after school, I copied Rembrandt etchings from a book, and a few years later got my permission from the Met to copy Titian's Venus and the Lute Player. I have never painted as well as I thought I should, so frustration came early too. My Venus looked like a bag of laundry. In 1994, for the 50th reunion of my class at the Lawrenceville School, I made a list of the different things that painting means to me. And here is an updated version. Being alone with myself, being part of an enormous family of painters living and dead, being amazed by reality, seeing how strong or weak I can be, seeing the evidence of passing time, just seeing, facing infinite possibilities, mastering a medium or failing to do so, showing and telling, bringing pleasure, making money, thinking, transcending myself, very rarely. And I get to travel, paint with friends, visit museums, and buy art books as legitimate business expenses. I love this so much, and it reminds me so much of myself. I didn't spend tons of time at a museum when I was young, but I had many of these kinds of experiences that he had. I shared many of them, so I feel really fortunate. So this really resonates with me, and I hope it does with you to some degree. Okay, so that's that. Now I need to talk about my lessons, because right now it's a really good time to get onto the website, paintinglessonswithmarla.com, and check them out. We're having a sale on the monthly lessons until the end of the summer, and right now if you sign up for the mini lessons, you'll get an email with a coupon code for a discount on any of our other previous products. So it's a really good time. I spend a ton of my time on the monthly lessons. It's my flagship product, so we're always adding new features to it. This year we have, I think there's hundreds of videos, 140 videos, I think, hundreds of hours of videos, hundreds of pages of study guides, and we've added monthly, what I'm calling super streams, which are really in-depth stream lessons that they're about 2 hours. They go way above and beyond what I do for free here, and really break down the fundamentals of painting that apply to the particular lesson that I'm doing. And I've added monthly trainings. I'm calling Marla's monthly mileage training, and where I give really specific exercises that also focus on a really particular aspect of painting. This first one was on simplifying. This next coming month, everybody that's a monthly member, we're going to focus on edges and I have lots of plans for really digging into some particular aspects of painting. The edges is really important. Edges are created by change in object, overlapping, change in a plane, changes in color, and there's lots of things that affect edges and how we can create them in our paintings to change what's going on spatially and atmosphere and all that. So we'll kind of dig into that. And let's see what else. Yeah, so make sure you get onto the website and sign up for the mini lessons. If you do that now, you also get the Color Confidence Handbook. So you want to jump over to paintinglessonswithmarla.com and sign up for the mini lessons if you haven't already. Okay, and lastly, I think I just need to remind you to subscribe to my channel here. I'm always trying to put new content on YouTube, trying to keep these weekly live streams going. And I really appreciate everybody that contributes to that cause. It helps me out. I have to make sure that I put my energies in the right place. All right, so today, the couple of reference photos that I picked, I'm calling them my secret stash because they're kind of pieces of reference that aren't super flashy, but I have these kind of folders and folders of things that kind of have stuck with me and attracted me over time, and some just kind of they don't rise to the lesson point because I don't think that they're something that other people might be interested, but there's something that I think that they hold an attraction to me. So this first one, this winter scene, is it's soft, right? It's kind of subtle, and it's got this kind of interesting light to it. This is the Canadian Rockies. I went there a couple years ago now, and it's so amazing there. So I thought I would start out with a small painting of this. I'm going to employ a couple other tools today, I think, to get some of these darks. I pulled out a black Conti stick. I've got my Create a Color monolith, and I've got a Carbothello. This is it's a dark blue. I think it says it's number 390, but that's probably not important. So I might use a couple other things, and yeah, so that's about it. And then the other reference, we'll talk about that later. But so let me just dive. Oh, that didn't take me too long. I'm glad I read that to you guys. I think that's such a beautiful thing from Mr. Buchner's book. All right, so I'll get my hair up so that it's out of the way. I try to stay out of the painting. We try to get the lighting. We try to get the audio. We try to get everything. It doesn't always run super perfect. So I really appreciate everybody bearing with me. If you're out of focus, make sure you refresh. A lot of times that's the culprit there. All right, so I'm going to give myself a little floating box to begin with. This is the blue spruce. I'm on the wine pastel mat to begin with. And I really want this to be really loose and atmospheric. So we'll see what happens. Sometimes you hope for that and you don't really get it. This is this crazy tangle of everything here. These kind of, I guess these are birch. I'm not really versed in a lot of this kind of thing, but I'm an observer and an appreciator. And then it's got this angle here. Here's the little path back here. These grasses coming up here that's really pretty, softening. So, you know, I'm more than, obviously, more than just trying to draw exactly what I see. I'm really just more trying to get the character of what I feel about it. Okay, I think that's a good start. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some of this black in here. This is, well, black. It's not actually quite black. This is a Conti stick, and it kind of digs into the paper nicely. I don't need too much of it. I'm just and now I'm gonna, by doing this, I'm gonna score into the paper a bit because I'm really, really pushing and scratching into this into the surface of the paper, and I'm good with that. I want that. All right. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get a little color in. Maybe that's a little light. Maybe this. There's this. That's maybe even a little light, but I'll live with it for now. We'll see. Back in here, I love these muted tones. It's just kind of, and neutrals are really, really pretty.
Okay, we have a question for you, Marla.
Yeah.
What makes a Conti stick different from a hard pastel?
I believe it's charcoal, not compressed charcoal, not pastel. So it's different material. Okay. So just getting a little idea, some color in here. Nothing crazy. As I said, I really love these muted tones. So I'm not going to raise the intensity too much. At least not yet. There's just getting some pigment on here. Okay. Now I want to get this distant hillside, and it's pretty dark, but I think I'm going to try to get it a little bit lighter than I see it. But I want it to be that gray. So let's see if I can find it. Maybe I'll put something down and mute it down. That's too light. Let's see. That's too bright. That's not it either. I'll find it. I'll find it. I think that's too dark, but I'm going to live with it. A little bit too dark.
Another question. Why did you choose this color paper?
Well, I chose the color paper because I feel like there's a lot of sort of warm undertones here. These sort of neutrals, like for instance right here, that's very, very close to what this paper is. Some of this is as well. So I think the tone of the paper in this case is, shares a relationship with the scene pretty well. Oops, that's not what I want to do. Okay, now I got this tangle. Actually, though, I'm looking at it, I'm pretty excited about it, actually. All right, so now, when I've got this mess here, you got to like, out of the chaos, bring something out. That's kind of exciting. Figure it out. And it's a thing about painting. It's so complicated and messy and challenging, and it isn't a straight line. There's no straight line to it. You can have a process that you can trust, and I love that, but a formula, no. And I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want a formula. I only want a process that I trust. Sometimes that process is fruitful, pans out. Sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. If it did every time, we'd all be master painters. And if that were the case, I don't know, to me the motivation is always to get better. And okay. So this foreground right here is in this beautiful soft shadow. very beautiful. And on the edge of the shadow, where the shadow meets the light, is the opportunity. Talk about edges, to bring in a color that's a transition, both in value and in intensity, to come along that edge, to describe the edge. So now I'm going to turn this corner. There's this little path, and back here, it's so cool.
Another question, Marla.
Yeah.
Can you explain how this painting would look any different if you chose a different color paper?
The question is, could I explain how this painting would look any different if I chose a different color paper? I don't know. I mean, no, I don't know. It would look different. Honest answer.
And if you used white paper, you would almost always do an underpainting, correct?
Yeah, I would. I would use white. I would use I would do an underpainting if this was white paper. Yeah. Oh. Changing the baseline of that more distant tree. So I'm going to move on because I'm picking around in here. I want to get a couple more things. I was hoping to get 2 paintings done. I'm not sure I will. So now I'm just going to come up into the sky and start picking out some negative shapes.
Okay, another question. Are you choosing the lines of the branches for their design value, or are you trying to follow the photo reference?
Oh, I'm not trying to, am I picking the lines of the trees for their design? No, I'm just trying to get the character of what's here. I'm not trying to copy what's here. There's no way I can unless I could if I wanted to do a photorealistic rendition of this, I suppose. But I'm not after that. I'm just after what's the character of what's here. So I'm just picking out, some things here and there that kind of describe the character of what what's happening here, which is this crazy tangle, and it's really interesting to paint. So if you think about a design, yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that. I can go back and forth between the negative and the positive here. Want this to be a little greener. So it starts to come together.
Here's a question about your palette. Is there a reason for the order of it? Like, do you start your yellows on one side and you go to your greens over here? Is there a reason why you chose that, or was it just arbitrary?
This palette,
Yeah.
it's set up like the color wheel, and no, it's not arbitrary. And it's set up the way I learned color theory, so by relative, because it's all relative, hue, value, and saturation in each of the color families. And it helps me, it's really helped me to be a better painter, to have my palette set up and organized. Okay, I'm getting somewhere. Now, okay, now I've got a little bit of something for all of this. So now I want to really start doing a few things to really get me around the corner there. Okay. So I'm going to look more at my iPad here. I love that.
And there's a quick question about the garden journal. We just say, stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. We're working on it.
Yep, it's
pretty soon.
Almost done.
Yeah. It's really a fun one. And it's pretty long. It's pretty, how many hours of video? It's like,
Gosh, it's like 10 hours.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Here's a quick question. Do you ever use a shade darker than your sky for your sky holes, or use the same shade as your sky?
That's a debate that happens a lot. That it should be, because in essence you're going to get this refraction, so the light is spilling around the edges of those holes. So theoretically, they would in fact be slightly darker in value. However, for me, if it looks good in my painting to make them just as light, then I do that. If it looks better in my painting to have them darker, then I do that. I'm not, I never stay married to some principle or rule. To me, there's, you know, the only rule in painting is that if you copy someone's work, you don't sell it. That's it. That's it. Other than that, that's, you know, there's just foundations. There's not rules. So, yeah, there's all kinds of, I like to think of that stuff as rules of thumb. You know, and that's, to me, a good way to think about those things. Because a rule of thumb is like, yeah, that's good to think about. Good to consider, for sure. All right, getting somewhere. I want to like shift some of this color in here to, I kind of like the idea of it being a little cooler here. This guy. And then over here, I've kind of neglected this side over here. I don't want to do that. There's this really interesting stuff going on over here. Missing some opportunities. Bring in these cool darks. Let's see what's going on here. All these possibilities here.
Another question?
Yeah.
Can you talk about the reason why you would use both warm and cool colors?
Why wouldn't I? So if warm colors are gonna move forward, cool colors are gonna recede. I'm not gonna let one dominate, if that's what you mean. That's a whole other thing. But that wasn't your question. You don't want, I wouldn't want to let one or the other be competing. Ooh, that's nice. Woo, yeah, there we go. That's kind of, it's not really, it's a little indicated by the photo reference, but it's not as obvious as that. I'm stoking the light a little bit here, but that's okay. oh, it's getting fun, which means I'm getting to that point where I see, oh yeah, that's working, and that's really nice. And you get to that point where, okay. And it has some of that flavor of what I was after.
And we will frame this at the end. We'll
Yeah,
show
we
you.
will. We'll put a little mat on it. And it will be available for purchase on Daily Paintworks, a couple hours. Gotta make a living, you guys. Sorry. I wish I could just paint for you and not have to. That's okay. That's good.
Really quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Why purple for the trees on the right?
Because it looks good. Why not purple? Purple's awesome. Don't you see purple? I see purple. I see purple, I see aqua, I see all kinds of colors in here. The suggestion of them, of the different colors. What else do I want to do? Yeah, I know. Just want to get that area to set back there a little bit more. That's cool. And then I'm going to come up here in the sky and just kind of play with these, get these a little bit more thick and thin and a little bit more delicate marks up here. I think would be nice. Gosh, I'm not going to have time for that road. I'm going to have to push that to next time.
Oh, the Connecticut road?
The Connecticut road, yeah.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to keep the weekly streams going as much as I can. There might be a couple weeks through this end of the summer that it's every other week, but you know, so far the plan is to to do it every week,
Here's another
at
question.
least through the summer.
This is a very good question.
Yeah.
Do you ever manipulate your photos in Photoshop?
Do I ever, yeah, the question is, do I ever manipulate my photos prior to painting in Photoshop? Not really. You know, every now and then I will do that, but not really, because I really feel like if I need to change something so significantly that I'm gonna, I would do a thumbnail sketch before I would do that. You know, however, what I feel about that is that if that helps you, it's just a tool. It's just another tool. And go for it. There aren't any rules against it or about it. You know, if you like using Photoshop, go, do it. I'd rather draw it. I'd rather, you know, do a sketch and draw it out. Because I just like to draw, and it's fun. Of course, there's color stuff, all kinds of, you know, you could change the color, you could change the value, you could do all kinds of, you know, crazy fun stuff in Photoshop too. That might give you some fun ideas on, you know, how to change up. I think anything that you can do to sort of push away from the photo reference as much as you can is a good idea. You know, I definitely want that in my work. I don't, you know, I want to think about this photo. It's the idea. It's the starting point. It's not the end point. The end point's the painting.
And another question about any news on the acrylics, and that is stay tuned as well. We're working hard on that.
Yes, we are working hard. It's really fun, and it's we're working hard on acrylic. I don't have a release date at all, because we want it to be really great, and it's going to be the first acrylic workshop. So because it's the first one, it takes just a little more time because I want to be thorough.
We've worked on, in the last couple of days, three separate paintings in the
Yeah,
last couple
yeah,
of days.
yeah. It's really coming along. It's fun. So it's going to be the seasons in acrylic, just to give you a little tease. It's the seasons in acrylic, and there's with a bonus tropical. So because the tropics don't have a season, but we have to represent them. So yeah, it's really neat. And besides, if I had, someone was asking me the other day, if you could go somewhere, where would you go? And my answer was, well, if I could go somewhere right now, I would go to some place where the water was warm and I could swim in the warm ocean. And that's, so tropical seems good to me. Okay. Yeah, I like it. It's kind of come together. I actually, let me see, where did I put that underpainting? I'm gonna see if I have it sitting around. Oh, here it is. So I'm gonna share with you guys. I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't share these things, but I will, because I don't really have any secrets. So this is an underpainting that I had planned for this same, for the same scene. And this is just graphite moved around with alcohol. And this is on a UArt board. So it's nice board. So I'll probably, now I've got this, and I'll be able to really, you know, this is my practice run. This is my practice run for, so that's really fun. Good. I'm excited about that. Let me just do, I see a couple more things on this that I want to do. And then we have actually some time to take some questions if anybody's got any. I don't want to labor this too much. I think it's got some really pretty fun stuff. I don't think I should do too much more. There's a couple sneaky ideas of some color back in here. Yeah.
And just in general, for any questions about the website or workshops or mini lessons or anything like that, just head over to the website. It's really well designed, and it
Yeah.
will answer all of your questions.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, questions about the website, head over to the website. If you're a member and you're having issues, don't ask, no. Hit support at paintinglessons with Marla.com.
And really quick, the black branches in this piece are Conti crayon, correct?
Not all of them. So the question is, are the black branches in this piece Conti pencil? It's not a Conti. Yeah, I don't know. I guess they consider it a Conti crayon. Not all of the branches. Some of the branches are done with the blue spruce. Some I did with this. I think I even scratched in with the my Create a Color monolith. So there's all of that going on. When I do this other one, I think that I'll employ even some charcoal, some compressed charcoal. I think that would be really fun to do, to get in there and play around with. All right, I'm going to call it good because I'm picking on it now, and I don't want to do that. And now I'm going to get out my L's, which, Mom, if you're watching, they're still dirty. And that's because they always get dirty. These were clean and they just get dirty. There's just no way to keep them clean in the studio. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. It's you know, it isn't one of those pieces that's like, whoa, you know, but I think I like it. Little bit of an artist piece, a little bit.
Cool. Do you want to take a look at your sticks that you used?
Sure, we can look at them. It's interesting because the sticks are kind of interesting because they're so muted and kind of close. A lot of them are close in value, but then we get out here to the lights.
You get some time here to
Yep. Right, I'm just organizing them. Okay.
We just zoom in.
All right. There. That's pretty good. Ugh. Kind of use my fingers a lot today. Okay, so yeah, so make sure you get over to paintinglessonswithmarla.com. The monthly is really it's a good deal right now. It's very affordable, I think, with things having changed so much where, you know, live workshops aren't going to be a thing, I don't think. All of mine, I had 10 live workshops scheduled for the year, and every single one of them has been canceled. So it's going to be a while. So I think the monthly, if Pastel is in your life, monthly is a really affordable option. There's tons of content. It'll keep you busy for a lot longer than a 3 or 4 day workshop would. So I think it's a good value. So make sure you check that out. And their lessons and their workshops in oil and the watercolor sketching and soon to be acrylic. So make sure you head over there and check it out. And again, thank you so much for watching. I love sharing this with you. My heart is open and wide, and we'll try to be bringing these to you every week as much as we can. Okay? All right, you guys. I think that's it for today. All right. See you soon. Bye.